All right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Jimmy Jim James Show. Thank you so much for listening. Exciting news today.
Exciting news. We're talking about the Real Housewives of Potomac, and we're talking about the reunion.
Yes, but before we get to that, the real exciting news was I have some French fans.
Oh, snap.
Yes. So I'm worldwide now,
Woo.
worldwide. But anyway, let's get back to what we're here for and talk about the season finale 1. I think they're probably just going to do 2 because it kind of seems like I don't know. It just doesn't seem that same energy, and there isn't that nastiness. I don't think they're going to go 3 sessions. Right. Who knows? But let's talk about Juan and Robyn. I could not believe how Robyn was like, "Oh yeah, we knew before the season started," and basically said that it all went down with the credit card receipt. Apparently the girl DM'd her and gave her a copy of the credit card receipt for the hotel room.
Yeah, I knew that Robyn knew about the girl on Instagram, and the fact that, like Andy said, like you waited to do this after the show and just sell it to like your listeners on your podcast, which is smart.
He did throw shade, didn't he? I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe he's doing this.
But it was super smart.
But I thought it was smart too. I mean, if you have, I don't know what that is. They must have it on YouTube or something.
So Patreon, pretty much what it is that you can subscribe to like get information on her podcast. So the podcast that she does with Giselle, they have like a Patreon account that like people can subscribe to, and then like the people that subscribe to it they're the ones who got that information.
Got it.
So like
that's right. You know, you subscribe, make your money.
Yeah, like I'm not mad at her, but like as fans of the show, like I feel like because they didn't put it out there, like they were pretty much using Chris as a shelter throughout the whole show, and then not talking about Juan and Robyn.
Yeah. So, but what still got me is that she's still just like, you know, yeah, we got married, and you know, she's so joyful and everything. And I'm like, yeah, he cheated on you, obviously. I mean, they didn't say like that happened, but it's like he cheated on you, and you guys were just getting ready to get married during that whole time, and he's in a hotel room with somebody else. I couldn't believe it. I mean, she came across like Ashley. You know, she came across like Ashley just like doy. I mean, these women, like, and Robyn's now the breadwinner in the relationship. So like, you think she'd be empowered and like really, you know, I don't know.
Well, honestly,
it's frustrating.
Juan is the one who's coming up because if they get a divorce, they didn't do a prenup, and like you said, like Robyn's the one who's making all the money. She's got all these little businesses, her baseball caps, her podcast, her, you know, what else? Ever else? I'm sure she does appearances, everything. He's gonna get a chunk of that. Oh yeah, like if things don't work out, he's gonna be the one that comes up this time, for sure.
Right, exactly.
So praying for the best for her.
Yeah, and then our number 2 victim over here is Miss Ashley. I mean, that girl, has she ever heard of community property? Well, I don't know in Atlanta if they have community property. I wonder if they do.
I don't know how it works.
I don't know the divorce laws. I know I'm here in California very well, but I don't know them in Atlanta. I should have checked on that. But I know here in California we have something called community property. So yeah, whatever he came in with, you can make income off of that. But then that income, if you've commingled funds, they call it. So if he paid for anything from those funds in that they own jointly, then that becomes half of hers. But I don't know what the laws are in Atlanta. But still, she's just a hot mess. Like Giselle told her, like maybe you need to get divorced first before you start really dating seriously, because you already dated somebody else. And I get all of that. You know, wasn't getting it from the home place, or she wouldn't be getting a divorce, right? So she's now getting it from somewhere else, which, you know, she'll probably settle down before the divorce happens and then maybe get into long-term relationships. But she needs to. Yeah.
Ashley, I feel like she is going through this divorce with no representation that's really helping her.
Right, listening to her husband. Her ex-husband.
Her ex-husband is controlling every moving part of what's going on. And you can tell that Ashley, it could be a smart move or not, or however you want to look at it, is that she's really projecting like I want to be in his favor because like he's controlling all the money and he's controlling what I'm getting and he's controlling every aspect of my life, including where I live.
Right.
And she's kind of playing that card, but like as an independent woman, it's so hard to look at someone and you're so dependent on him. Like you wouldn't be able to have the things you have without him. And that's, I mean, she married him really young, and I can respect Mia when Mia said, I know how I got my man and I know how to keep my man. You knew what you were getting into. You got with this man super young. He expected you to be on this foreplay and have these threesomes. This man has lived his life. He's older. And you came back and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Of course, he's going to be like, well, bye. With this prenup all tight. You ain't getting shit. Like, you know what I mean?
You're so right. Yeah. Keep it moving.
Yeah, it's sad.
Mr. Darby. I can't believe anybody want to hit that anyway, but like, he just like...
No. Yeah. Like, she's in a predicament and I feel bad, but also like, go get your own.
Yeah.
Like, go be independent. Go get your own. Don't depend on this man for the rest of your life, because that's what it's looking like.
Right. You know, I haven't heard the figures that they get for doing that show. I know that the Beverly Hills Housewives, they make a lot of money on them. I don't know. We should research that and see what, it's got to be out there. What, you know, like kind of money she makes. So she makes money, and they do personal appearances. You know, and all that kind of stuff that they get cash for. So...
Yeah, you know, but probably not to pay her mortgage.
Right.
You know,
what did she say? How much her mortgage?
It was like $13,000.
$13,000 a month. I'm like,
why? You know, I understand the lifestyle for your kids, and like you don't want to leave that lifestyle. But like, if you're going through a divorce,
no, wait, I don't mean to stop. But then somebody said, "Well, is he paying half the mortgage?" And she's like, "Well,
he's paying all that mortgage."
No. And I'm thinking, no, I don't think he is. And so I'm thinking to myself, wait a second, if he owns half the house, that means he's responsible for half the expenses, half the upkeep, half of everything. So don't be a fool, honey, and spend all your money. And then when you get rid of the house, you're going to have to split it 50-50 with him when you paid all the bills.
Well, is the house even in her name? Is it?
They put it in an LLC. Limited liability company, so they're basically equal shareholders. Well, I don't know, it could be different in there too. It might not be 50-50.
I don't know. Michael doesn't seem like one that likes to share.
So. Probably gave her 10%. He took 90, and she doesn't even know it, thinking they own 50-50.
I believe it.
I know. I'm telling you. I mean, she
gotta read these contracts.
Right.
Feel bad.
Totally. So anyway, the next person on our list is Miss Mia and Wendy. And have you noticed how refrained Wendy's being now? Like she's not blowing up crazy. I think John Hopkins had a little conversation with her and was like, you can't show up like that and that's our reputation.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? You can't go out, like crazy woman. You gotta be reserved and just kind of hit your points, and she's doing it very well.
Right.
Very well.
She was coached, for sure.
Yeah, she was totally coached, because, before she'd have jumped across and just went after her.
Yeah, she was for sure coached. What was so funny was when they were coming back and talking about how Mia had the cancer and how Wendy was like, oh, I never said she was a liar, but then she was mic'd up and it came out later. I was like, oops.
Be careful what you say. You better know they got the receipts.
Yeah,
the camera's rolling.
The producers play no games. They're like, oh, we got it on camera. Play that.
Yeah, they'll bring it out, right? That's what I always say too. I'm like, they could talk about it on the show, how they're lying back and forth and all those kinds of things, but what happens is that they show the film later, right?
Yeah.
And they got you.
And they catch up.
Right.
Unless
you're Kathy Hilton and they don't have the film.
Right.
Mysteriously.
Right.
For Beverly Hills Housewives. Right? And then on a side note, how about Giselle, like during like a little break in the whole thing, trying to ask Andy if he'd ever been with a woman, like out of left field. I just thought it was so weird, didn't you?
I thought it was so funny. I felt like the little ad lib that they have, and she's like, oh, if you don't do it by this time, like, I got you. I was like, okay, Giselle.
Excuse me. I couldn't believe it when she did that either. I'm like, and I couldn't believe that he was like, yeah, I'd like to try it out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the man for being curious.
No, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, but I thought it was so funny that she was like, I got you. Just let me know when you're
right. I'm here for you, bro. I'm here for you.
That's a good friend. Great relationship there.
Exactly, right? And then getting back to Mia, how about her businesses? Like, you know, my mom had an old saying, and she calls people that just like Mia $50 millionaires. And where we lived, she would be like, what basically that is like you show like you're a millionaire, and you got $50 in your pocket, and you know they were renting that huge house.
Yeah.
They were living the life, and you know she talked about was how you know they made $40,000 a month. You know, California that's really nothing.
Right.
So, but you think like you know she was making $40 million a month the way that she goes on and on and on and throws it in the girls' faces, and now apparently. They're living off their savings and they had to move out of that house.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're moving in an apartment or where they're at, but...
I think she said she's in a penthouse, but...
Oh, that's right. That's right. She did say that.
She's like, we're in a penthouse now and we're living off the savings. But what's really crazy is like they never like directly said like what happened.
Well, they originally, you know, at the beginning they lived in a penthouse condominium. But I don't know that they didn't rent that either. I mean, she doesn't ever say that. So... They probably were renting that and then went to the house and rented that. Yeah.
They never really said what happened to the businesses. She was like, we got voted out and like this
Yeah,
and
the
that.
girls were like, wait a second. You said there was 3 directors. Now there's 8 directors?
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't, you know, she doesn't
tell
tell
that. I thought you were CEO, but you're
not
CEO. Like, what's going on? Like, how are you a member, but then 2 of you got voted off, but like there's only like what's happening?
Right. Yeah, something's wrong. They were probably... spending corporation money and all those kinds of things, and on personal items is probably what went down.
Yeah,
and they got caught. So his brothers threw him out, and they can't. She's right. They can't throw you out, but they can throw you off the board, and that's probably what happened. If they had 8 board members, there were only 2 board members.
They got voted off,
even though she says they own 51% of the company. But if they only had 20% voting rights, no less than that, 15% voting rights, and 10%, 12% voting rights, somewhere around there, that they can kick them off.
Yeah.
You know, it's majority rules, so whether, you know, voting can be different than ownerships.
Yeah. I feel like the other girls, like, they're like, the math isn't adding up, so we don't know what's going on here.
Exactly, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, it was just like, and I knew it. Like, anytime, there's the old saying that I use is, if someone has to tell you who they are, don't believe them.
Exactly.
If they're selling themselves to you, don't believe them. Look, I don't go anywhere and tell somebody what I do for a living, nor do I don't, you know, it's pleasantries, and, you know, maybe if they ask the question, I'll say, you know, what I do and that kind of thing. But when you have to tell somebody how much money you make and what you have and the cars that you drive and the house that you live in, they're $50 millionaires.
Yeah.
Because if you got it, you don't need to flaunt it. You know what I mean? You don't need to go around and preach it to the whole world.
No, I agree.
Right. And so,
they really ended the show with, you know, Candace and them talking about Chris and Giselle and that whole situation that keeps dragging on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was just like, I just don't know why they used him for the whole entire season, and it wasn't that big of a deal. It was like, you know, like at the beginning of this, Andy said, like, he was like, you know, you all hang out together. It's not like you don't know each other and he came into your room.
Right.
And he wasn't being provocative and he wasn't doing anything. And, like, why is it that big of a deal?
And it's not even that, like, she felt uncomfortable, because I'm never going to say, like, a woman didn't feel uncomfortable in that situation. It's the fact of her waiting to bring it up until they were filming again. Like Candace said, like, you've had many opportunities before this, between the reunion and us filming again, to have this conversation with us and be like, hey, you know, Chris made me feel uncomfortable. But you didn't bring it up until Ashley brought it up.
Right.
And just dragging it on all season long, really to cover up the whole Juan and Robyn story. Like, it was just way too much.
Yeah, I wonder why that story didn't come up until the very end.
It's because she sold it. She wasn't telling anybody. That's why.
And Giselle kept a good secret because Giselle knew.
Yeah, Giselle knew. But
knew the whole time, and I think she said that too. Giselle knew.
Giselle knew, and, like, you know, they're thick as thieves, so they were like, you know, we're gonna use this to make money off of it. And again, smart move on their end.
Right.
For sure. Because I'm pretty sure they made money on it.
They're like, hey, Bravo's not paying us enough money, so we need to get our own gig going.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with their decision. But again, as a fan, it's like, you guys literally used the whole season to pretty much be victims to Chris, when that really wasn't the headline of the season. It was really about Juan and Robyn.
And he gets beat up enough by his wife, like, and his wife's mama. Like, you know, let the guy just work his job, let him live, be a chef, and just have his own identity, and just stop coming for the guy.
Man, I feel so bad. I know
he should be a cast member.
Poor thing doesn't even probably get paid enough to deal with all this drama. They said that they're going to bring out, the husbands.
I know.
On the next episode.
So what do you think is going to go down? Well, if the husbands are coming out, there's going to be
drama.
Well, a lot of drama, a whole row. And I thought it was strange too on this episode about how Karen was just, oh, I'm happy for you about the marriage, and then she said, oh no, you're not, or something like that. And she was just like flipped her eyelids, but I was waiting for her to tear into it. I
think Karen's gonna not lash out, but like she's gonna be more vocal in the next episode. For sure.
She wasn't much this time.
Yeah, there was a lot of other stuff going on, and she was very just much sitting back and listening. But I feel like the next episode we're gonna get into her and like
she is the grand dame, so yeah. I think they get into that whole thing too. If I remember, I saw some sort of preview about like why you labeled yourself the grand dame and then what would your name be? Robyn goes, Robyn, and she's like, oh, okay, thank you, or something like that. I saw that. So yeah, she didn't have much to say at all, and Wendy didn't either. She flips her eyelids and that kind of stuff, but she didn't really. I don't know. There wasn't a lot of interaction. Yeah. Like everybody was really too nice. Yeah. Like I thought to myself, like something's gonna happen. They're almost were coached. To be really mellow for some reason.
Maybe they're just trying to be better in their appearance on the reunion based on past experiences.
Yeah, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could be right. All right, well, tune in to The Real Housewives of Potomac for season finale number 2. And then we'll be back at you doing a recap. Thanks for showing up. Remember to like us, subscribe to us on YouTube, and check out our TikTok. Thank you so much.